Can you hear me?
Hello,
Hi.
everyone. My name is
Good.
Ileane, and I'm with IleaneSmith.com. Thank you so much, Fraser, for inviting me over to your Fire Talk.
Okay, we're doing a quick off the cuff news with Ramsey and Ileane Smith. So, what's been happening in Ileane Smith's life today? Give us some off the cuff news from
Okay.
Philadelphia. What's going on, lady?
First, I would like to say that live streaming is such an exciting new platform for us to explore. And there's so many different apps for us to choose from. And this live Fire Talk is another one of those live streaming apps. I'm so glad you're introducing me to it today.
No problem, Eileen. What to do? Oh, I'm just getting my Twitter. Do me a favor. I'm getting my echo from you, so maybe you need to try and just. I'm hearing myself through your speakers,
Okay.
and maybe that's better. Sounds a bit better. That's good. Cool.
Okay.
I'm not hearing myself anymore. Fantastic. Okay, back to it. So we're at the moment we're going through a lot of transitions at the moment. We all kind of met through a live streaming platform called Blab. A lot of us came from Google Hangouts, and some people came from Periscope, and so on. And we've all linked up, and we've been chatting for the best part of not far off a year now. Pretty much, we're getting to know each other, even though we're in total different countries, total different time zones. But as we're chatting in real time, which is what we've been doing. So how with the, I suppose, with your experience with Blab, even though that was the where we all met and that's where we kind of congregated. What's your now? Obviously, the moment Blab is pretty much dying, they're going to be flicking the switch and turning it off at some point because they're putting their resources and their money into the new Bebo app instead, which they're kind of concentrating on back onto what they used to do when Bebo was on the sort of the desktop kind of platform, like your kind of Facebook and all that. So tell us your experience that you've had with Blab and being on it, the kind of people you've met, the kind of connections you've made, the kind of challenges and the challenges you've had, and the kind of the ups and downs. Tell us about it.
Okay. Well, I was one of the early adopters to the Blab platform. And it was at a time when Periscope was just becoming really popular. And I found out about Blab actually over on Meerkat, which is kind of ironic because Meerkat is really not doing much of anything now and kind of reminds me of the downward spiral that Blab seems to be experiencing. But I feel that Blab is a very vibrant platform, but I do think that the technologies that they're using to run the platform may be part of the thing that's holding them back. Also, Blab has come to the decision that they wanted to change their focus. And, I had enjoyed recording my podcast over on Blab. And so a lot of my friends as well had set up shows where they would be doing live interviews and so forth. And so that kind of is very discouraging for folks because as you mentioned, that they have introduced the new Swipe to Chill app, which is also can be found under Bebo in the App Store. So anyway, it's been a very rewarding experience because I have met some amazing people. I've also, something that was unique for me, being already a blogger and a person who does social media, I knew a lot of social media so-called influencers or experts that I knew them, but they may have known me a little, but they weren't that familiar with me. But because of Blab and because I was an early adopter and I knew the platform like the back of my hand, I was able to introduce so many of the influencers in my space and teach them how to use the platform live. So now they know me, they all know me by name. There's no doubt. So that was a major impact on my growth as a blogger and in this whole space of social media.
Yeah, for me personally, I came in as with being a podcaster, obviously coming in as the Hattrick and Ramsey, obviously being the Ramsey, and the kind of getting well, it was always a bit confusing for people at first, but I suppose that was the sort of the fun part of it, because eventually got to know who I was and who and kind of what I did, and eventually and so on, which it's been a great promotional way of doing it. Periscope was the one way of doing it, and eventually Blab, and it kind of kicked things off. And it certainly it's opened the doors to many avenues with doing the podcast, not just the podcast, but with my cleaning business and also other projects that I'm developing as well, and connecting with many business people, which has been fantastic. And that's the great thing about these things, because I mean, I think you've suddenly got the bug of finding just about every possible social media type platform, whether it's Snapchat, Periscope, Fire Talk, Huzzah. You find it for some reason. You've got this. You must sit there instead. Most people are probably sitting, coming home from work, say, I'll see what's on the telly. I'll watch my soaps, or I'll maybe get a bit of knitting. I'll get my knitting out and I'll do some knitting, and I'll just have my cup of tea, get my slippers, and then I'll eventually go to my bed. But here's Ileane. She comes in. She's on Snapchat. She's on everything possible. She's finding out any new platform possible. She's exhausting every option that is out there. To basically spread the word about social media, how she, even when it comes to YouTube and editing videos and everything, you name it, and training people how to use the platforms. Ileane is basically ahead of even the people that are younger than us, and that is putting these younger people to shame. So it just shows that Ileane is on the pulse. She is here. And that's even without her 5-hour energy. That's just without that. Because Ileane loves her 5-hour energy. I think we should sponsor this by 5-hour energy. But anyway, maybe if I keep saying 5-hour energy, they might send me a free crate. But anyway, so that's so that's the kind of thing we do. So tell us, during the course of today or the last couple of days, tell us some local news in your area that's been happening.
Oh, here in Philadelphia, well, we've had today we had some really severe weather with a lot of downed trees, and it's causing a little bit havoc with the traffic. But the other thing that had happened, and it's not just a local thing, but something that impacted me as well as a lot of folks that I know, is the passing of Muhammad Ali. He's always been an icon, not just for African Americans, but just for anyone who wanted to stand up for their rights, because his legacy extends beyond the boxing ring. And, we're always remembered here that one of the first fights that he lost was here in Philadelphia when he got beat by Joe Frazier, which is we call him our Philadelphia son. And so that's, another thing that's notable in the news. And then there was, there's always, in Philadelphia, we're kind of a sports town. So there's the good and there's the bad. One of the good things was that our basketball team has been awarded the first pick in the draft. But the bad was that one of our baseball players had one of the fans throw a can of beer at him, which is just like always, those kinds of things just kind of give us a bad name. So the cops are going to, find this cat and, or it could be a female, and lock them up. And I think that they should really ban the selling of beer at those sporting events. One of the sportscasters here said at the NCAA tournament, which was something else that happened our local college, the Villanova Wildcats, they won the NCAA tournament. And they said all those NCAA games, there's no beer sold. So beer is not the attraction and what brings people out to the games. So when you have people behaving badly simply because they had a little bit too much to drink, it's not good. So other than that, and we're going to...
Any other news apart from the sport and the weather? Anything else?
We're going to be hosting the Democratic Convention coming up soon. So, Hillary Clinton is going to be accepting that party nomination here. I do believe.
So, are you a Clinton fan, or are you more of a Trump? Or are you not bothered?
I'm a Democrat. I'm a
Right.
Democrat. So
Okay, so you can,
I wish
you can,
Sasha was running for president, Sasha Obama,
right,
but
okay,
she's a bit
interesting.
young.
Yeah, just a bit interesting. So, what other news? So, anything else? What's the kind of like? Obviously, is what Philadelphia is it quite a safe? Is it quite a safe town place to live in? Is there a lot of crime, or is there not a lot of crime? What give us the give us some
Crime.
hard hitting news about Philadelphia.
Oh, crime is down tremendously. And another thing that's really good is the deaths from fire are down tremendously. That they talked about that stat on the news the other day. So the murder rate is down, and in fact, when we hear about folks dying on the news, it used to always be there was a murder, there was a murder, there was a murder. Now it's more there was a car accident. There was something, and then maybe there was a fire, or something like that. So, which is good. It's getting better, but it's still an urban area. So you still have to worry about other crimes like, robbery and things like that. So we have gambling here in Pennsylvania. And so there's some casinos around. So the latest thing, and I guess in comparison to all the murders that we used to hear about, is it's not that bad, but it's still bad that they will follow people that they've seen have made a big hit at the casino. They will follow them home and rob them.
Those are good.
So that's one of the things. But I mean, I stay out of the casinos, so you don't have to worry about that happening to me.
Got any other hard hitting news about Philadelphia? Nothing really.
No,
all cool.
Nothing much. Nope.
That's great, fantastic.
And I just want to make a little quick comment that someone said that they can't hear us.
Probably because they're not. Well, we can. It's probably because they're not using Firefox. Sometimes Google Chrome doesn't work on this platform. You have to use Firefox to actually make, because for some reason it doesn't work for me. But when I come in on Firefox, it works great, and so it's not a problem.
Because I'm on Chrome and everything's perfect.
Yeah, it's a strange one, but hey, what can we say? But one of these things.
Try another browser.
We just have to try that. But no, look at some bit general stuff about Edinburgh. I mean, just to give you an insight, some of the stuff that's been happening, the local council, for many, many years, for decades, every Sunday has been free parking for when it goes for people go shopping. You'll get charged. It's great. But in the space of come the end of 2018, they've voted in favour of charging people for parking on a Sunday. So that's going to affect. Obviously, that's going to have a knock-on effect on church goers going to church. That's going to have a knock-on effect for self-employed people who are businesses, people who run a bit of self-employed who go in to do jobs on a Sunday because it's free parking, for if they're doing quotes, etc. And basically, it's going to. I think technically it might have. They want to encourage people to take the bus and the tram, as I say, not the trams, because the council wasted £800 million on one line of a tram for Edinburgh. So, but we have that scenario in Edinburgh that I think they want to encourage people to take the bus and make it more pedestrianised. But I think at the end of the day, people will just go out. People will eventually go out of the centre, and it will distract people going into the town because they have to pay for parking. They'll just end up going to the shopping malls instead of going into town. So I think it's actually a bad idea going forward in the future, because it's just going to, for people who want to do a job on a Sunday, like I would say, I'll do a job on a Sunday because it's free parking, because it saves that you don't have to pay parking. It's easier. I'll say to the client, well, when that kicks in, the prices, you're going to have to say, well, it's going to cost you more money now because I have to pay for the parking, because it's not free parking now, unfortunately. So that's just the way it goes.
I don't think you have any audio coming through.
So I'm on some. Oh dear, hang on.
Oh, that must have been on Blab. So that's interesting, because here in Philadelphia, we don't even have a payment for parking on Sundays.
Yeah, exactly. They've kind of changed. Looking to change, but I think the Edinburgh Council are just hell bent on. The problem is they're just hell bent on trying to screw up Edinburgh, because a long, long time ago they wanted to try and bring in a congestion charge like they have in London, but they never got it. It was voted out, and ever since that they've decided to screw up the whole of Edinburgh, which is a beautiful city, but it's the capital of Scotland. But that is what the general stuff that's been happening in Edinburgh. Some of the stuff that's been going on. But
So
hey,
how is it there as far as like the murder rates and safety and all that?
We do get crime. There's not very many. You do get stuff going on. It's not like America when somebody's getting bumped off every 2 seconds. Just about in certain areas, you do hear the odd thing going on, but it's not. Or people, it's not bad. No, because it's more like things like car accidents, or you get. Excuse me. You do get people that are. You hear of like the odd people, women being attacked or something like that, which is not ideal. So, but it's not too bad over here because we don't really carry guns. You only really see guns maybe at the airport security, that's what you do. So it's cool. But that's Edinburgh. But the thing is, coming up in Edinburgh at the moment, we have the Edinburgh Film Festival, which is happening. We've got the Royal Highland Show, which is like a massive farmers market. And basically, you have like there's lots of brand new tractors and all that farm machinery. They have there's animals as well. There's lots of shows. It's a kind of big, massive event every year over a weekend, and it's happening in a couple of weeks. You'll have the Edinburgh Festival, which is going to be over 3,000 shows for a month from the 5th of August to the 29th of August, the Edinburgh Festival performing. So Edinburgh will be packed for that month. So that's coming up. It's the busy time of the year for Edinburgh and the Edinburgh Festival. So that's the plan. So things are all kicking off soon, getting busy, which is great. So that's pretty much what's going on. You're getting concerts. We've got Elton John is going to be performing in a smaller stadium in Edinburgh. So, it's all cool. And you get a lot of people coming to usually use Edinburgh Castle, the Edinburgh Military Tattoo, which is part of the festival. So this is what's happening in Edinburgh. So
okay, so now can I ask another question?
You can't. You want to ask me a question? Go for it. This is off the cuff with Fraser Ramsey and Ileane Smith hitting it, getting down on Fire Talk. What's the question, my dear?
Okay, it's a Fire Talk question. Have you ever installed the app on your iPhone for Fire Talk?
No, I haven't. I haven't done that yet.
Because I noticed that one of our friends from Blab, Bruce Garber, is here in the audience. If you click on the viewers tab, you'll see, and then it has the little icon there. Well, he's probably on his Android because
Bruce Garber, the man himself.
Hey, Bruce.
The man. Mr. Bruce Garber, who's one of our audience. We have one of our viewers. We have Alfredo, Bruce Garber, and
Alfredo. Hey,
so good. But anyway, we're going to say thank you for the off the cuff interview with Ileane Smith on the Ramsey off the cuff news with Ileane Smith and Fraser Ramsey and on Fire Talk. It's been great just chatting and impromptu bit of chat about Philadelphia and what's been going on with Ileane Smith's day, and apart from the weather and her Snapchat and her social media and everything else. It's been good.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, dear.
No problem. I will sign off and I'll see you back over on the other side. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.